Now we're looking at our last objective for distance formula. We're going to calculate the area of triangles and rectangles using the distance formula. Now this is where we need to remember the formula for the area of a triangle and the area of a rectangle. So refer to your formula sheet. So example 4a, we're going to find the area of the right triangle QRS. So take a moment to write this down and sketch the triangle and press play when you're ready to begin. All right, so when looking at triangle QRS, the first thing that I want to do is just identify those ordered pairs. So we have 8, 5, 5, 2, and 1, 6. Okay, so we said that this is a right triangle. So just looking here, we can pretty much assume correctly that this is our right angle. So we know that the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So all we need to figure out is the base and the height. Okay, so we don't have to figure out this line segment. So we're going to start with RQ. So that is 1, 6 and 5, 2. And then we're also going to find QS. And that is 5, 2 and 8, 5. So we're going to have to do distance formula twice because we have to find those two line segments. So again, I'm at the point where I feel like I'm a pro, so I'm not going to actually write down my formula. I'm just going to go ahead and plug everything right in. So we got 5 minus 1 squared plus 2 minus 6 squared. Okay. D equals 5 minus 1 is 4. And 2 minus 6 is negative 4 squared. Okay. So D equals 4 squared is 16. What am I doing? 4 squared is 16. And negative 4 squared is also 16. 16 plus 16 is 32. And this is not a perfect square, so we're going to leave it in radical form. So the length of RQ is square root of 32. Let's move on to finding QS. Okay, so we got 8 minus 5 squared plus 5 minus 2 squared. 8 minus 5 is 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. All right, 3 squared is 9. 3 squared is 9. Square root of 18. So again, this is not a perfect square, so we're going to leave it in that form. So we got square root of 18 here. Now we just have to calculate the area. So we're just going to plug those values into our formula. So we got 1/2 times the square root of 32 times the square root of 18. And I like to use parentheses when putting it in my calculator just to make sure that, you know, I'm putting everything in correctly. So once we put it in our calculator just like this, we're left with 12. The area is 12. All right. So now you guys are going to try one on your own. All right, so take a moment to write this down, try it out. Remember, sketch the figure on your paper. Press play when you're ready to work it out. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is identify my ordered pairs. So we got -3, -1, 3, 3, 1, 6, and -5, 2. Okay, so this is a rectangle. We know for a rectangle that the opposite sides equal each other. So the length of this side equals the length of this side, and vice versa. This side equals this side. Okay, so again, we only have to find the length of two sides in order to do this, because the area of a rectangle is length times width, or base times height, you know, however you look at it. So for this one, I'm just going to pick PS, which is -5, 2, and -3, -1. So I'm picking PS, and then I'm also going to pick PQ, which is -5, 2, and 1, 6. Okay, so again, I'm doing PS and PQ. You could have done different sides, but you should still get to the same answer in the end. And again, you've already worked it out, so I'm just working it out real quick for you. 2 squared. All right, so PS is square root of 13. Square root 52. Okay, and to find the area, all we need to do is just multiply these together. That is so ugly. Let's try that one more time. Square root 52. And so for your area, when you multiply those together, you should have gotten 26. All right, let's keep moving on to our next example. Okay, now this is going to deal with one to where we actually have to sketch the figure out. And hold on one moment. So let's begin by sketching our figure. Again, it's not going to be perfect unless you decide to grab a piece of graph paper and graph on that, which is fine as well. Okay, so we got negative, that's -1. So we got -1, -1, which will be right here. That is our A. And then we got 2, 3. And then 10, -3. 10, -3 will be right about right there. And that is C. 10, -3. And then finally D is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, -7. D 7, -7. Okay, so again, it's not gonna look perfect, but it should look close. So we can definitely see our rectangle. Now, again, the area of a rectangle is length times width, so we only need to calculate two sides. So I'm gonna do AB, -1, -1, and 2, 3. And then I'm also going to do BC, 2, 3, and 10, -3. All right, so let's begin. 2 minus -1, 3 minus -1, 3 squared and 4 squared. 9 and 16. Okay, so D equals 5. All right, so the length of AB is 5. All right, let's go ahead and look at BC. So we have D equals 10 minus 2 and negative 3 minus 3 is 8 squared and negative 6 squared. So D equals 64 and 36. And that is 100. So D equals 10. All right, and the length of this, is that the one we found? No, we found BC. But, you know, either way, it's the same. So we can actually go ahead and fill in. Now, to find the area, we simply have 5 times 10. So our area equals 50. All right, now it's time for you guys to try one on your own. So make sure that you sketch the figure, try to work it out, and press play when you're ready to see what your answer should have been. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and sketch my figure. And again, try to make yours look better than mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we have 6, 4. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 6, 9. And 0, 0. All right. And this is C, 0, 0. This is A, 6, 4. And this is B, negative 6, 9. Okay, and we can see that our right angle is probably right there, which is correct. Okay, so I need to find BC, which is negative 6, 9, and 0, 0. And I also need to find CA, which is 0, 0, and 6, 4. 0 minus negative 6, 0 minus 9. 6 squared, negative 9 squared, 36 plus 81, square root of 117. So BC is the square root of 117. Four minus 0. So D equals square root of 6 squared plus 4 squared. 36 plus 16. Square root of 52. Okay, so now we can calculate our area by substituting our values in. So the 1/2 of square root of 117. Oh, it's so ugly. And times the square root of 52. So once you put it in your calculator just like that, we see that the area calculates to be 39. All right, so now it's time for you guys to try your practice. Good luck.